Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here are today's top stories. Secret Service Director resigned earlier today. More on what she said about the attempt to assassinate Trump. California Democratic leaders rallied to support Vice President Kamala Harris's run for president. Kamala Harris racks up more delegates to become the presumptive Democratic nominee, and attention is now turning to her potential running mate pick. First up, the Secret Service Director resigned. In an email, she said she was responsible for the security fail that led to an attempt to assassinate Trump. U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheeto has resigned today. That's according to an email sent out to her staff. This comes after nationwide outrage at failing to prevent the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally on July 13th. In the email, she wrote, quote, "In light of recent events, it's with a heavy heart that I've made the difficult decision to step down as your director," adding that she takes full responsibility for the security lapse. Lawmakers had expressed frustration over Cheeto's testimony before the House Oversight Committee yesterday. She didn't answer some specific questions about the investigation into security failures. During Monday's session, she was questioned for hours by both Democrats and Republicans, but Cheeto remained defiant that she was the right person to lead the Secret Service. President Biden thanked Cheeto for her service after her resignation. In a statement, Biden said, "Jill and I are grateful to Director Kim Cheeto for her decades of public service. She has selflessly dedicated and risked her life to protect our nation throughout her career in the United States Secret Service." Biden also said, "As a leader, it takes honor, courage, and incredible integrity to take full responsibility for an organization tasked with one of the most challenging jobs in public service." The Democratic National Committee says it wants to have a nominee by August 7th. It says it will hold electronic roll call for delegates to vote. The DNC says the nominee does not need to pick a running mate by then. Candidates need to register with the committee and meet party and legal qualifications. They also need to have at least 300 delegates. The DNC says candidates who qualify will have a handful of days to make their case to the public and to delegates. No other Democrats have said they will run yet. The DNC chair says the party remains laser-focused on winning in November. The Democratic National Convention will be in Chicago on August 19th. Could President Biden's exit from the presidential race work in Democrats' favor? New polling shows 83% of Democratic voters approve of Biden's decision to withdraw and endorse Vice President Harris. The CBS News YouGov poll reveals 45% of Democrats believe their chances against the former President Donald Trump have improved without Biden. 10% think their odds are worse, and 17% see no change. Nearly 80% of Democrats back Harris as the nominee. Biden's exit has also energized the base, with about 40% feeling more motivated to vote. Harris's campaign raised $81 million within 24 hours of Biden's announcement. The poll was conducted among roughly 1,000 Democratic voters. It has a 3.4% margin of error. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signals that a ceasefire deal that would free dozens of hostages from captivity in Gaza could be taking shape. The Israeli leader made the comments at the meeting in Washington last night.
We are determined to bring them all back. The conditions to bring them back are ripening, for the simple reason that we are putting very, very strong pressure on Hamas, and we are seeing a certain change, and I think this change will grow, and we intend to do it. This is a war goal.
President Biden is back in Washington today after battling COVID-19. He is expected to meet Netanyahu at the White House on Thursday. The two leaders are expected to talk about ways to reach a ceasefire deal as well as Iran. Vice President Harris will meet Netanyahu separately this week. An aide to Harris says the vice president won't be at Netanyahu's joint session of Congress this week. She will be traveling to Indianapolis for a previously scheduled event. Local Democratic leaders are rallied to support Vice President Kamala Harris's run for president on the steps of San Francisco City Hall, shortly before Harris received a key endorsement from former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Let's take a look.
On Monday morning, on the steps of San Francisco City Hall, officials and Democratic committee members put their support behind Kamala Harris, highlighting the vice president's career and South Asian background.
Kamala Harris is the future of America because she embodies these democratic ideals where we have open debate about these issues, we come to consensus and bring forth policies that will move all Americans forward.
I'm really excited about Kamala Harris. She's someone who is immensely qualified. She is ready from day one, and she's going to make history. She would be our first president of Asian American descent. She's someone I've known for 26 years. When we served together as criminal prosecutors, I've known her from those days as someone who's brilliant, compassionate, a fighter for the people. This is why I helped to start the first Asians for Kamala committee.
In 1998, Harris served as a managing attorney in the San Francisco District Attorney's Office and became California's Attorney General from 2011 to January 2017. Pointing to the city, one congressional candidate has a differing perspective on Harris and Biden's withdrawal.
And as we can see here in San Francisco, their policies clearly don't work. We have homelessness, crime, drug use that are plaguing this city. And I think that if Kamala actually does get the top job, she's going to spread a lot of these problems to the rest of the country. So I think it would be a complete disaster. I think that if there's any way to unite people, it is to show that their voice can be heard. And this process of replacing Joe Biden with the pick of party insiders just completely disregards the will of the people.
Joe Biden did a very honorable thing and stepped down as a candidate for the president. I think that with Kamala Harris, she's our best chance at winning the election.
The Democratic National Convention is set for August 19th to the 22nd in Chicago. The convention's Rules Committee is scheduled to meet this week to finalize its nomination process with a virtual vote as soon as August 1st.
With Vice President Kamala Harris racking up enough delegates to become the presumptive Democratic nominee, attention is now turning to her running mate. Several top Democrats are emerging as possible picks. Let's take a look.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is a potential candidate for the spot of Vice President Harris's running mate. Harris called Shapiro a great partner to the president and herself at a Philadelphia rally this month. Shapiro endorsed Harris for president on Sunday. Shapiro spoke after the assassination attempt on former President Trump. He paid tribute to the family of slain fire chief Corey Comparator.
I asked Corey's wife if it would be okay for me to share that we spoke. She said yes. She also asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero.
Shapiro won in a landslide to become governor of Pennsylvania in 2022, giving Democrats control of this crucial swing state. Many in the Democratic Party are urging Harris to look to battleground states for her running mate. Pennsylvania has 19 electoral college votes, which is the 5th highest overall. Another possible pick is North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. Cooper endorsed Harris on Saturday, but has so far declined to speak in detail about the vice presidential slot. In 2016, he became governor of North Carolina by a small margin of around 10,000 votes. In 2020, he was re-elected. Cooper has clashed with Republican lawmakers over issues like abortion, health care, and voting rights. A rising star in the Democratic Party is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. He managed to beat Trump-backed Daniel Cameron to become governor of this heavily Republican state. One of the issues Beshear ran on was abortion access. Kentucky has one of the strictest abortion bans in the country. Beshear says he supports expanding abortion access.
Well, I believe there should be much more access in the very least. Victims of rape and incest and non-viable pregnancies deserve options.
Another potential pick is Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. Kelly served as a naval aviator and has focused on national security and the military during his political career. He is also a former astronaut. He played a vital role in crafting the CHIPS and Science Act, which aims to revitalize the U.S. semiconductor industry. In 2023, Kelly broke ranks with the Democratic Party when he called the influx of immigrants at the southern border a crisis. Kelly is the husband of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was shot in the head in an assassination attempt in 2011. Since then, she and Kelly have fought for gun control, founding an advocacy group. Some other names on Harris's radar could be Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who has sparred with conservatives and ran for president as a centrist in 2020. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who secured 2 terms in the battleground state, and California Governor Gavin Newsom, who was once considered to be a presidential hopeful himself.
Who is Vice President Kamala Harris? NTD's Melina Weisskopf takes a look at her career from her decades as a prosecutor to a short stint on the Capitol Hill to the vice presidency.
Before becoming the vice president, Kamala Harris's wheelhouse was law enforcement. She served as a prosecutor in California for roughly 2 decades, eventually becoming that state's attorney general, a role in which she prioritized criminal justice reform.
And I created one of the first in the nation initiatives that was focused on re-entering former offenders by getting them jobs and training and counseling.
She moved on to serve half a term in the U.S. Senate. GovTrack.us ranks her as a strong leader who is further to the left than most Democrats, based on her record. She rarely reached across the aisle on bipartisan legislation. A notable time she did work with Republicans, however, was to promote human rights in Hong Kong after the Chinese Communist Party solidified its control over the city. Her stance on China echoes that of President Biden and other Democrats.
Beijing's actions continue to undermine the rules-based order and threaten the sovereignty of nations.
Her Israel stance is more complex. Harris's husband is Jewish and she supports Israel, but she's also called for a ceasefire in Gaza. And her border record will be a major political obstacle. Republicans will target her for the unprecedented surge in illegal border crossings.
The root causes are based on the problems and the challenges that people are facing in countries like Guatemala.
Leading to the biggest question, her ability to win in November. Failing to gain popularity and secure campaign dollars, she was among the first to drop out of the Democrat presidential primary race in 2019. The crucial question for Vice President Kamala Harris is her ability to connect with grassroots America. Because while top Democrats and delegates can carry her to win that nomination, only voters can carry her past November. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. A search comes to an end as a Southern California teenager is found after going missing last week. A Las Vegas Valley pizza chain operator is accused of employing children illegally at several locations. 2 streaming giants are set to raise prices soon, impacting both new and existing subscribers across the platforms. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. A 15-year-old girl who went missing in Monterey Park last week has been found safe outside a news station office in Los Angeles. NTD's Christina Corona provides the latest update on the story.
Allison Chow, the 15-year-old from Monterey Park who had been missing since last Tuesday, has been found safe outside ABC7's office in Glendale. According to a security guard at ABC7, Chow was walking and had been followed by someone in a car who recognized her as a missing minor and called police. Glendale police informed news outlets that officers located Chow near Flower Street and Sonora Avenue at 9:30 a.m. According to Glendale PD, Chow is now safe and in the custody of the Monterey Park Police. Chow initially disappeared around 5:30 p.m. on July 16th after leaving her father's house in the 200 block of North Inez Avenue on a blue mountain bike heading to her aunt's house in San Gabriel. However, her aunt contacted Chow's father around 8 p.m. to inform him that Chow had not arrived. Hundreds of community members and volunteers organized search parties to find Allison. The city of Monterey Park later expressed gratitude to the community and law enforcement for their assistance in the week-long search. As of 12 p.m. Tuesday, there is no public indication as to why Chow disappeared. Christina Corona, NTD News.
A popular pizza chain faces over $200,000 in fine for child labor violations at nearly a dozen Nevada shops. Here's NTD's Christina Corona with more details.
Investigators from the U.S. Department of Labor have accused Blaze Pizza of employing dozens of children at 10 Las Vegas locations. The operators were fined $277,414 in civil penalties. The investigation revealed that children were required to perform hazardous tasks and work beyond legal hours on school days. Bryce Guys Inc. employed 23 minors aged 15 to 17 to operate industrial pizza dough mixers. 5 15-year-olds worked more than the permitted 3 hours on school days, often until 10:30 p.m. Federal law restricts work hours for 14 and 15-year-olds to 3 hours on school days and prohibits work after 7 p.m. According to the Wage and Hour Division District Director Gene Ramos, learning new skills in the workforce is an important part of growing up, but we must protect children and ensure their first jobs are safe and do not interfere with their education or well-being. Regarding the accusations, the corporate of Blaze Pizza stated, "Our franchise cooperated fully with the investigation and have adhered to all state and federal labor laws since May 2023. Based in Pasadena, California, Blaze Pizza has more than 340 franchise locations in 38 states. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Generations of steel workers in Pittsburgh have worked at the mills. Now Japan's Nippon Steel Corp is on the brink of acquiring the city's most iconic steel company. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the latest.
Steel is such a huge part of Pittsburgh's identity that the city's NFL team is named after it. Some steelworkers see the sale of U.S. Steel as a larger symbolic fight to save what's left of manufacturing in the United States.
Change is difficult to begin with, but you add to that this great fear that we're going to lose what we have. So that's that reticence.
The sale of U.S. Steel to a foreign company comes amid a presidential race. With it, a tide of renewed political support for rebuilding America's manufacturing industry. President Joe Biden has vowed to block the acquisition. His opponent, former President Donald Trump, has promised the same.
As long as jobs stay here, the manufacturing stays here, and there is a possibility of growth and responsible growth, I think it's a wonderful thing.
The sale has drawn opposition from a rare bipartisan consensus on both economic and national security grounds. Once the world's largest corporation, U.S. Steel was the world's 27th largest steelmaker in 2023. That's an assessment by the World Steel Association. The manufacturer reported just under $900 million in profits on $16 billion in sales last year.
And the expectations are from people that maybe someday you can bring it back. It's not going to exist that way. But I still think there's a bright future here, as long as it's done responsibly.
The deal would include all of U.S. Steel's ore mining, steelmaking, and processing plants around the country.
You tear everything down and take it all away, you're taking away our ability as a region to use our history to help not just define the past, but to define the future and the present.
Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel are now in the midst of a public relations effort to promote the sale. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
The tire company Goodyear is selling its off-the-road tire business to a Japanese company for over $900 million. The company is trying to cut costs by slimming down its businesses.
Goodyear Tire and Rubber announced on Monday it will sell its off-the-road equipment tire business to Japan's Yokohama Rubber for $905 million in cash as part of a drive to streamline its business. In a statement, Goodyear's CEO said, "We are grateful to our OTR colleagues who have driven the success of the business and are committed to working closely with Yokohama to ensure a smooth transition for customers and associates." Goodyear last year announced plans to cut costs and slim down its portfolio of businesses. This includes its chemical unit, Dunlop brand, and the off-the-road unit, a strategic review aimed at delivering more than $2 billion in gross proceeds. The off-the-road business makes tires for industries such as mining and construction. The deal is expected to close by early 2025. Goodyear said it expects to make certain off-the-road tires for Yokohama Rubber at some of its manufacturing sites for an initial period of up to 5 years after closing the deal.
You might see higher costs for streaming services as Netflix phases out its lowest priced ad-free plan in the U.S. And Peacock announces a rate increase for subscribers. NTD's Christina Corona has more details on the new prices.
Netflix announced it is discontinuing its $11.99 ad-free basic plan in the U.S. and France, potentially pushing more viewers toward its cheaper ad-supported option. The basic plan was already removed from the UK and Canada and is no longer visible on the plan and pricing page for U.S. customers. The Netflix Help Center pages stated, "The basic plan has been discontinued. You can change your plan at any time." Other Netflix plans include a $6.99 monthly option with ads, a $15.49 monthly standard HD video quality plan with no ads, and a $22.99 premium Ultra HD plan with no ads. Peacock also announced they are raising its rates for subscribers. Customers will now pay $8 monthly for Peacock Premium and $14 for Peacock Premium Plus. Annual Peacock plans are rising from $60 a year to $80 for premium packages, while premium plans are jumping from $120 to $140 a year. Peacock's website notes that the rate change effective July 18th will apply to new subscribers, while existing subscribers will maintain their current rates until their next billing cycle on August 17th, 2024. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. One of the largest fentanyl precursor seizures in the U.S. to date. The chemicals discovered enough to kill millions of Americans. Prosecutors indicted a Chinese national for allegedly leading the operation. More on China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.